Okay, everybody, cue spoon and music in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back. This is the SpewnedIt Podcast. We are so glad to have you here. I am Jensen. This is my great friend Joel, and we are just ecstatic to be back in action. It's been a number of months. We have not been sitting on our hands, however. We've been working, we've been planning, we've been scheming, and I think we've put together a really exciting season 2 for our show. We started this last year, and we had a fun run, but I think we're taking it to the next level, and we're just really excited to be back.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't agree more. You know, basically what he said. It has been a long time, and I feel like when we started off, it was like, yo, this is going to be something cool to do. Again, like Jensen said, we're taking it up a few notches now. We're changing things. There are going to be new things that you're seeing on the podcast. There are going to be more segments that are going to be like more reoccurring. There may be a few that are like a bit more of a one-off, but also we're just gonna have a great time on this. You know, the main reason for this podcast was us to just catch up, have a great time, and just stay in touch. And so, half of the thing that does come with that is just having a chat sometimes. Obviously, this will change with like stuff that's happening around the world, music that's being released, and so on and so forth. But yeah, new podcast, if you will, season 2. Is that what we're saying? We are saying season 2. That's what we've agreed on.
Season 2, yeah, season 2, and we got new graphics, new segments, new me, new you, new year. It's all new. It's gonna be great. But
Preach.
Same old fun times. And we're just going to kick it right off with a discussion. And we have a bit of a question that we're just going to talk about for a bit here. Question is, what will we reminisce about when we are 80? Just looking back on our childhoods and young adult lives so far. We've had a lot of fun. We've had a lot of adventures. What are we going to think about? What are we going to talk about on this podcast when we inevitably continue doing it in season 200 in the year, I don't even know, 60, 20, 80, I don't know, whatever.
There was a lot of maths going on there. I was thinking about this the other day. I can't even remember what sort of like promoted it, but I was just thinking, with everything that's gone on, with everything that we've lived through, whether obviously a big part of that being like living in Uganda, living abroad in a completely different country. But still having that like mutual connection. Would there be like, we'll be sitting on our rocking chairs and be like, Jensen, do you remember the savannas of Uganda? And you'll be like, I said, anyways, you get the idea. But I was thinking like, what is gonna spark that of like, oh, I tell you what, that is a quality memory from either being a kid or being a young adult. And I was thinking that often it's like just the tiny little things, isn't it? And so when I was thinking of like, right, well, what is an actual answer for this, for something that I'm really gonna remember? And I think, what was it? I was listening to a podcast the other day, and these guys were talking about how like this guy and his son's like 4 years old, but all the time they play, like they build Lego together. And I was thinking, I tell you what, there's so many memories. Like one of my favorite ones is so there was this basketball court that was rarely being used, and so we're like, yo, we're just gonna turn this into a massive Star Wars battlefield. So created a bunch of these tiny little ships, and obviously the slightly bigger ones, and just had a full-on battle, and it was so cool. And it was little things like that. I'm like, I tell you what, that's gonna be something that even at 80, I mean, I certainly hope so, I'm going to look back and I'm going to be like, I tell you what, that is just something class. Like, I really am just going to remember that for ages and hopefully forever. And it's just going to be something that sticks with me, I reckon.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of those types of things we did. Ones that come to mind for me are like bottle cap things, and some of the different cities we would build in our little tower room that was like our playroom. One of them, we were playing with toy cars a lot at the time, like Hot Wheels size type cars.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of stemmed from playing Need for Speed, and we were just really into cars at that point. But we made a whole city out of paper and tape, and the room itself had a concrete floor. And we also like to play with matches a lot. So we had this whole city with like paper buildings and paper bridges and such, and then the whole plot line of the city was that there were arsons, and so we then would like burn down the paper bridge that we had constructed
So
with
good.
tape and paper, and that stuff like that. Stuff like the paper city. We built little cannons out of clay, and we would shoot like seeds out of them with caps off of matches, and so we did a lot with matches.
I really badly burnt myself on one of those, by the way. So I think for some reason, because obviously like that was a craze for a little bit. I think is what it was, like the little cannons, which was wicked. But so one time I remember I was at home. I was just on my ones. I think it was a weekend. I was just chilling out. And so just firing stuff off, and obviously you have to let it cool down afterwards. So obviously I didn't let it cool down. Like one went off, I was like, let's go again. I'm ready. Got a bunch of the matches, just chucked them in there. Bang! Big explosion in my hand. And I peel away. My hand is just in agony. And I can't even remember anyone else being in the house. I'm just here walking around. I probably was like 9 years old, and I'm just like, what am I meant to do? My hand is on fire. So painful. But I think that that'll definitely stick, because that was just something crazy that you'd do. Like, how on earth did our parents let us get away with these mini cannons that they had like 9 or 11 year olds just messing with them. Yeah. And then one thing I remember that like was also quite big was when we had bow and arrows.
Yeah.
So there was this guy, and he was kind of like, I'm pretty sure there were a few of them. They were like the security guard for the compound, but basically the whole area. Obviously really cool guys, and they would make bow and arrows. And I mean, these things were gorgeous. They were easily as tall as us at the time. And you'd be able to get obviously, did we ever make our own arrows? Like, how to just...
I think we tried. I remember Brevin specifically was trying to make some bows and maybe some arrows, but yeah, I don't think they were ever very good. And we didn't.
Not easy to do.
Yeah, because they would like hammer out, and they made the bows, by the way, out of coffee wood, wood from a coffee tree. It's like really strong and flexible. Yeah, it's really interesting. And we had, and the arrows were they were like savage things. They would take a nail, like a big nail, heat it up in one of the charcoal like ovens, and then hammer it out so it was flat, and then somehow they twisted these like massive barbs in the end of them, like
they were not safe.
They were not toys. No, not at all. And they just came from these arrows, and like who knows how much tetanus was on them. Dude, those were crazy. I think I remember one of the coolest things one of those guards did was he had this little bow, maybe like maybe this big at most. It was little even for us then. And he like pulled it back, shot one of these arrows, and it like went like a full inch into like a wood plank. And we were just like, oh my gosh, that was crazy. Like we some of these bows we couldn't even hardly pull back.
Yeah.
Because of like how strong the wood was. Yeah.
Serious craftsmanship.
Yeah.
And I think I remember being able to bring one back. Now, every time I think of this, I'm like, surely this is not possible, because how on earth do I get through customs in Uganda or rather in the UK at London Airport, and just like, yeah, I just got a bow. I'm 11 years old, as per, it's my safety. But I remember having it here, and maybe it's because the actual arrows were just like sticks, so they didn't have anything on the front. But I remember being at the park. I think I must have been with my mum and dad and my younger sister, and the ball, like we were playing with the football. Football was way over there, and I let one loose, right, and I just go. Obviously, no one else was there, so I wasn't gonna hit anyone. And the arrow goes, and it hits right on top of the football, so well that it bounces straight up. And I look around, and I'm like, that was one of the most amazing things I've ever done. But every time I think back, I'm like, I am the king of the park. I'm here to stay. But every time I think, I was like, how on earth would I have a bow in the UK? Like, surely that just wouldn't have been allowed. But honestly, man, it just crazy times, which I feel like, going back to the point, we're like gonna be able to remember for ages. And I feel like, well, I don't know, because getting older, I don't know if you agree with me on this, gents, but like I feel like those times have probably become less common the older I've grown up. Do you know what I mean? Like life is just kind of like obviously that was cool, but I don't know whether that's going to stick with me for ages. Like obviously there's definitely things that will, but it's just kind of like some of those are so like I remember them so clearly. Like when we were recording movies on they're one of those little flip devices. Are they still made? I haven't seen one of them for years.
Yeah, that camera was, I'm sure, just undercut by like GoPro and cameras that could actually like survive a hit. I remember I broke the glass covering on that camera when I was like running it one morning, and I was filming some shots for I don't even know why, but I like just tripped and then just cracked it, and but actually it was okay because I just like pulled out the pieces and then we just kept using it without like the glass cover on the front.
Going.
And it was fine. It worked. Yeah, but no, those movies were great because we made 2 real ones, and then a lot of other like shorter things where we're just messing around with like the lightning effect and what.
Yeah. Well, wasn't the main one like the Queen of Jarumba or something?
Well, Louisiana Joe, was the main.
Louisiana
film.
Joe,
Yeah.
that was the main one. And I remember my main part in it, obviously being the English kid.
Yeah.
Was just tea. Like
course,
everywhere we went, it was just like I got tea, got it in my pocket, and I'm ready to go. And like the amount of lines that were just tea related. And at the time, I don't think I understood the racism that I was going through. All these American people around me just saying, "Yeah, if you're English, tea. Just everything is tea."
I was a young filmmaker. I was aiming for. I was boiling our characters down to what their essence. Their true. Oh boy.
Good times, man, to be fair.
That was great.
But do you know what I mean? Like it was very free spirited.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe that's what sticks, is the fact that it's just like, you know what? There was, we would do things, but like, yo, do you want to do this? Yeah, let's just do it. And then, you grow older and there's man, this is going to get deep, but there's so much more that you have to do.
Yeah, responsibilities.
You can't just kind of like,
and then
you can't just run off and do stuff. That was a massive thing about being in Uganda. It was just like, you can head off, just be back by 6. Cool.
Yeah, that was crazy. Just in the middle of the
Good
jungle,
times.
Just be back by the time the sun goes down,
Yeah. And it was fine. One thing I do remember as well, I mean, again, this is just not safe, is so, like, obviously, with the whole area, there were some routes or some paths that were slightly more overgrown on the sides than others. Obviously, most of it was fine. It was all clear cut and everything, but some, like, there were little hiding places. So I remember what we would do, and I think this happened to me at some point, is, so we'd get people to, like, go on obviously we were all mates here. We wouldn't just, like, ambush people, but get people to go down on their bikes, then you try and chuck a stick in the back wheel. And then obviously they would grind to a halt, and it'd be like, oh, no, you got me. And I can't remember if it was me that did this, but I'm pretty sure this was to Brevin.
It was me
Jens.
and you, yeah.
It was us too.
Well,
You're
forgetting a bit, though. The game, you described it accurately. We had taken a path and that nobody was using, and we would ride our bikes down, and the whole goal was that 2 people would build like a roadblock.
I know what you mean. Yeah, like a roadblock. Yeah.
And we would construct it of like leaves and some sticks and stuff. And one of the times, me and then you would burst through it is the goal, and it was cool, right?
Yeah.
But one of the times, me and you decided that it would be a great idea to stick a stick in and stop the tire from moving by sticking a stick in the spoke. And I think what you were getting at is that then we missed the back tire and hit the front tire and just sent them over the handlebars,
flying away.
Yeah.
So bad. Who was it that actually threw the stick, though? Do you remember?
I don't specifically, no.
Okay. Let's just leave it at that then. I think we'll both we'll take half the blame each. I think that's safe.
Sure.
One thing I do remember as well is obviously, with these bows and arrows that we were talking about before, you could kind of just cruise about with these and it was fine.
Yeah.
So there was one time, like, obviously we met up somewhere, and then I don't know if it was my bow, maybe it was yours, but I was like, oh, I haven't got a bow. I was like, gents, I'm going to borrow your bike. I'm going to go get the bow. Got the bow, arrows on my back, so I got looking pretty cool, to be fair. Got with the sheath at the back. Yeah. And I'm just coming back to the like the area where we were. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to test Jensen's front brakes. It'll be good for him to know that, you know what, Joel has taken my bike out. He's tested the front brakes, and then I can get back to him. So, I'm boosting, I'm going, get to the thing, slam the front brakes, and I just do a full 180, bang, just onto the floor, looking up at the sky, bow and arrow still on my back, thinking that is probably one of the jammiest situations I've ever been in. And just like, why have I got a bow and arrow on my back? It was just so casual. Like, surely that's something I'm going to think that, I used to just walk around with a bow and arrow. Yeah. And it was just like, this is cool. This is just what we do. Honestly, man. I feel like a lot of the memories that you, like, and the memories and the things that you do as a younger person, they stick with you because of the more freedom that you've got, which is mental to think about. That as you go along, it's like, I don't know, there's less of those moments that just stick out, which is kind of sad to think, but there you go. Yeah, I feel like that's just some of the things I'm going to be thinking about.
That's like vacation, right? Is you save up your time that you can have off, and then you go make a memory by the beach, and
then you make
hang
memories
out with the family or whatever. Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, it's just all over. One more thing on the subject of the brakes. I remember one of the times, because for whatever reason, American and European bikes have the brakes switched. So I wonder if even that might be why you flipped. Yeah, because I don't remember if it's left or right, but say the front brake is on the left hand. I got a new bike one time in Uganda, and I had an American bike up to this point, and then I got one that was European, and literally in the first week I went over the handlebars 3 times because I kept
times.
Yeah, I kept trying to do a drift or whatever, and then it would just boom lock up the front and the flip over, and literally 3 times, and I just because of the muscle memory from riding my American bike and then switching over and having to do it. Oh my gosh.
I've still got a scar on my right hip for when I was doing a drift, and then obviously the bike stopped and the wheels locked, and I flew over, hip first, bang onto the floor.
That's the worst.
I know.
I have a scar on my knee from I was riding my bike to or from the school, and I was just I kind of had the right of way, and somebody was like about to cross, but they like were waiting, and then like at the last second, it was like a kid, they decided to cross right in front of me, and I just like slammed into them on my bike and went over, and I think they were fine, but I was like in the dirt, and it was like a dirt road with rocks, and my knee was completely torn up, and like my elbow, and I remember going over to your house and your mom like patching me up, but it was just like, what are you
serious?
doing?
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that. I don't know. Maybe you had been in a class or something. I don't know. But anyway, I went over to your house and was like, hey, with my like massively bloody knee and scars that I still have from that. Oh man, good times.
Well, just some of the things that I hope I'm gonna be reminiscing about at that age. Just like things that have stuck with me thus far, and I'd like to be thinking about. Speaking, of course, of reminiscing, Jensen, do you know what time it is?
Yes, Joel, I believe I do. And the wind-up, the pitch. This week on Joel's Pitch from the Past.
This, of course, is when we take turns trying to bring back a childhood memory that we think has lost a little bit of the magic over the years. Last week, Jensen tried to sell me reusable tissue paper.
Some people might call that a handkerchief, Joel, and it's been a booming industry over the years. Anyway, this week, Joel is going to try to sell me on Hubba Bubba Bubblegum?
Hubba Bubba Bubblegum, right? The gum in a wheel that we all know and love. It leaves your mouth red and your stomach sore, but it also gives you the delight of bubble gum galore, right? We need to bring this back. I remember sleepovers mainly, when I would be up for hours and hours on a bubblegum high from eating at least 1.5, if not 2 of these wheels. You open it up and then you can unravel to your heart's content. I think it's been a while, and I won't lie, I think they've lost a little bit of the magic, and we need to bring back the hype. So bring back Hubba Bubba Bubblegum.
Joel, I don't know. I think you've got some good points here, but my main concern is that those wheels have stayed exactly the same size, but we have gotten so much bigger.
Jensen, I hear you. And let me be the first to say that was the case. For behold, my invention, the Hubba Bubba Mama Wheel. Twice the size, thrice the gum, and thrice the fun. Okay, this will keep you up for way longer than your regular Hubba Bubba. And for parents, you will never need to hear your children's whining ever again, because they will be so engrossed in the Hubba Bubba Mama Wheel. And for myself and all of the team here at our new company, you are welcome.
Very well pitched, my friend. Very well pitched.
Thank you.
You know, on the never-changing scale here at the Pitch from the Past segment team, I'm going to give the Hubba Bubba Mama Wheel pitch a B+. Thank you for watching. And now it's time for Lights, Camera, Fiction with Ridley Kubrick and Alfred Spielberg. Welcome back to your favorite improvisational film, trailer, movie show. I'm Ridley Kubrick, and this, of course, is my co-host, Alfred Spielberg.
Thanks, Ridley. Now, for those of you who may be new to the program, this is where we generate several random movie titles and must create the trailers for these random titles, and it's all done off the cuff.
Indeed, Alfred. Now let's see what our first title is today.
Coming this summer from the best-selling novel of the same name, Beast of the Sands.
A thrilling tale taking place in the Sahara Desert in the year 2092.
Starring your favorite Matt Damon, where he will struggle against all odds to find out what on earth these beasts really are.
And in the end of the film, he will have to decide whether the beasts are in the sand or in his heart.
Will he make it? Will he make it alive? And if he does, will he like what he finds?
Coming to an oasis near you this February.
Well done, Ridley. That was spectacular. What is our second movie title of the day?
Coming raw from the 480p webcam in Bobby Freak's apartment. Freaks in Apartment B.
Filmed in a special new way that has never been seen before on your cinema screen with this low quality. Will you be the first to find out why there are whispers of the freaks in Apartment B?
You can literally count the pixels while in the cinema, because this camera is so low quality, the budget for this film is less than $1,000. In fact, we didn't even pay the actors, and they don't know they're in a film.
Which makes it sound kind of dodgy, but it's okay because it's well filmed and it's a great idea. Coming to your cinemas sometime pretty soon as we can get the webcam back.
Is it art or is it a crime? Freaks in Apartment B. Smashing.
Smashing.
What our third and final title will be.
From the world of a man a time-traveling man who has come to the present day and realizes that the world he sees absolutely sucks.
The 5 BC man has come to the future, and everything is the worst.
How did he get here? Will he stay for very long? And will he tell you to your face that you suck?
Most of these questions you will still have at the end of the movie, except the last one, because, spoiler, you do suck.
And he is not afraid to say it to you, including the homeless man on the pavement, the piece of pizza that's probably lying there and is a few days old. He hates everything.
This incredibly new stop-motion picture, coming from the twisted mind of Tim Burton, is coming to cinemas soon.
And you'll be able to watch it and realize that maybe you should be thinking the same as well. Whoa.
Nice job.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of hooked. Kind of hooked
Alfred,
on that.
I've got goosebumps under my $1,000 suit here, and you know, do you want to go see one of those like right now?
I mean, I didn't want to say anything, but I've got tickets for Hated by History. I'm kind of down for that.
Let's do it.
Lead the way. Massive shout out to Ridley Kubrick and Alfred Spielberg there. Just great guys, honestly. Such genius directors as well.
So handsome.
Now, if you're so handsome, honestly, in those jackets, man, amazing. Now, if you're thinking out there that, you know what, I've got a good few, movie titles that I reckon I could come up with on the spot, feel free, chuck them in the comment section below. We will pass them on to some of the directors that we will have on the show at some point. Would be very entertaining to hear from those guys again.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for watching and or listening. Leave a comment below. Subscribe if you want to see some more. We're just happy to be back doing this, and we'll see you next time.